There's something to be said about the human spirit and man's ability to triumph over adversity. It is this innate desire to not give up that has seen man evolve from primitive beings to the evolved, intelligent humans we are today.
Hey, wow, guess who doesn't care?
Well, most of us anyway. But there comes a time when the fighter needs to throw in the towel. The quarterback needs to hang it up for good.
Flip back here to Damian, who throws, and it's Brady.
The runner has to stop and realize, I've been bested. But not her. When her lies about trafficking fell apart, she disappeared from the internet claiming to be taking a 2-year sabbatical to rest, recuperate, recharge. But then she decided to pivot in an ill-fated move that will lead nowhere but perjury and additional criminal charges. On May 12th, 2020, 2 months exactly after I was charged with false human trafficking, I was served with a petition for order of protection. These new claims allege Muse was unable to leave my house without me as if she was under lock and key. That she called the trafficking hotline out of concern for my son, and perhaps the craziest claim is that by making these videos describing my experience with her as well as the experience of others, I am somehow committing a hate crime.
Hey, just was wondering, is this an out-of-season April Fool's joke?
I say bring it on. Bring on the multiple IDs, the slanderous lies, the Wolfman, magic fairies, homeless joker, gang-banging stereotype trolls, your sympathetic therapist, and these completely made-up charges. Because in the end, I think Captain America put it best.
I can do this all day.
And I'm just getting started. Tiffany Lockhart?
Tiffany Lockhart, who are you, hun? Who are you?
Ooh, catch fights.
Anyway, Tiffany Lockhart?
Hello, hi.
Hit the theme song.
And now, your boy, Wes Moast.
Before I get started with Muse, let's get caught up on the situation with Vince and Francis Nicotra. In the 4 days since my video pointing out the hypocrisy of the interview between Francis and Onision, Vince has reached out to offer his official criticism. When I challenged him to be more direct with his criticism, rather than dancing around it, he waited several days before replying that he is, in fact, my Mona Lisa, and without him, I am nothing. Why does that sound familiar?
This man was nothing before he got our story, which he construed it however the he wanted to.
Guys, stop it! Why argue when I have plenty of salt for both of you idiots? Let Vince have his attention now though, okay? He needs me.
You're making yourself look like a fool.
When Vince doxed me for the second time on New Year's Eve, I was mostly unknown with the 140 subscribers. This doxing led to being featured in my second Mr. GG video in 5 months in January 2020.
Feel free to watch the new upload by Wes Moast where he drops piles of receipts,
resulting in a wave of views and subscribers. His unhinged, racist, deplorable actions in the days, weeks, and months after the fact fueled me to create more content, turning me into the slightly less unknown YouTuber you hear today.
We're building up here. Do you feel me? We're building up.
Of course, I did see a second spike in subscribers when I released the videos about my being accused of human trafficking, so let's just agree that they are both equally sad, awful, horrible people. I don't know. Or maybe he is my Mona Lisa. And maybe this should be on a t-shirt. Maybe I'll give it away to whoever leaves my favorite comment below this video. Yeah, actually, that's exactly what I'm going to do. Details are in the video description. Breathtaking masterpieces aside,
Yeah, he really is breathtaking.
I had no responses for Vince's comment and I shared it on Twitter. Angered that I shared that post, he followed up my text and confirmed a rumor that I had first heard about some time ago. Francis and Vince Nicotra believe that I may be a serial killer. I'm not even making a joke here. Apparently, Francis had something to do legally with the case in Gilgo Beach, New York, and a series of unsolved murders over a decade ago.
Gilgo Beach, a small community with a big mystery on its hands. The bodies of 15 brutally murdered young women. and there seems to be a pattern.
Now, you would probably think that in order to believe someone is a serial killer, there would need to be some sort of proof, some shred of evidence that linked a possible suspect with such a heinous crime. Well, ladies and gentlemen, may I present Exhibit A belt that may or may not have been left behind by the killer. Now, when you see my original channel logo, I think the evidence is pretty clear. These people are morons. Obviously, an unsolved murder is not a laughing matter, but being blamed for those crimes because I have a difference of opinion is a stretch. And speaking of ridiculous stretches, let's talk about Muse.
Okay, let's address this. So, you've heard a brief portion of what's happened.
Okay, I think she's done, so let's get started.
Because this has had more impact on us than you can ever imagine. Why wasn't he arrested? There has to be substantial proof. If I would have been lying, they wouldn't have granted a restraining order.
Well, they didn't. See, what she's doing here is lying.
Tell the truth is cool. Tell the truth is cool. Tell the truth is cool. Tell your mama and your daddy and your friends at school.
What she did was file a petition requesting a restraining order, claiming my videos were harassment and a hate crime.
I was the victim of a hate crime. How dare they? That's the video where I titled Dear Naked White Homosexual with Uncut Penis. Who would dislike that? That is specific. Oh, was it? It couldn't have been that homosexual man. It must have been a homophobe, meaning this is a hate crime.
Whoops, wrong video.
Because I've been a victim of hate crimes in silence.
Then, just a few days later, she did a 2-hour live stream about me where she shared irrelevant private details about my life.
And this is stuff that he willingly talks about.
Was defensive and argumentative.
Tiffany Lockhart, I don't need receipts, honey, because I have a restraining order.
Filled with self-pity.
Yeah, we're happy, despite everything that you and everyone else has put us through.
And so condescending.
So I'm sorry if we hurt your husband, and I'm deeply sorry that you feel that our medical conditions aren't valid. But if you want to talk to me like a person, you can do that. So.
And that wasn't the only stream she did about me while supposedly fearful for her life.
The birthday stream really didn't count.
Oh no, but it does. And we will get to that in more detail in another video, but in essence, she used our private text messages like a pay-per-view event. After deleting her Twitter in early April, she returned on her birthday, teasing some of our text messages that were exchanged and then offering a 30-minute preview that night on YouTube for free before moving the rest to her paid Patreon. So, you know, you sell the sizzle on the front end to sell the steak in the back. The only problem was, nobody cared.
I really was looking for the trolls, man. Like,
I have it on my Twitter and no one's even responded to it. Like, no one gives a
All of her desperate tweets for attention fell on deaf ears as by this point, people had already moved on. Even tweeting at Onision got no response from the trolls she was hoping would show up in droves thirsty for the tepid, uninteresting, boring tea she was trying to serve.
I tweeted at Onision, and no one even responded. I was at least expecting the hate mob, and I thought that Onision, I was hoping that Onision would at least respond.
Here you are. Awful, awful. That's all I have today.
And here, this is why people should study marketing. She went with something like Birthday Psycho Ho or something like that for her screen name, when clearly Honision would have had a much better ring to it. That's called branding.
Yes, this will be staying up on the channel.
And no, it didn't. The entire channel was taken down within an hour of me announcing I had hired a lawyer to represent me against these new domestic violence charges. That stream, though, has been mirrored and sent to me along with all of her other videos that have been forwarded on to my lawyer. Link in the description. And let's talk about my lawyer, because this is not the first time she appeared on my channel. In January, I made the drive to Tacoma, Washington for the Onision case against Chris Hansen and Repsion. While the cases were both dropped, the lawyer for Chris made an immediate impression on me that day. In fact, in the video I made recapping my trip to Tacoma, I made sure to add this. While she never got to present a case, she was a f***ing beast and ready to go from the jump. Had this case been tried, I have no doubt she would have prevailed against the unrepresented Onision. If you are ever in the Tacoma, Washington area and get arrested for some bullshit and you need to get out, I recommend you look her up. Little did I know that just 4 months later, I would be hiring her to represent me in a resource-wasting case, claiming that I somehow stalked and harassed her despite neither knowing or caring about where she is. Now, a few things about the petition for order of protection that stuck out to me are that she's now claiming to be a victim of domestic violence. Her new claims go against everything she said before, her own 911 call.
And so he's been holding you against your will? No, he traveled me across the entire country. I'm a victim
of a hate crime.
And of course, all of these receipts. That's perjury. Perjury is punishable by up to 5 years in prison, and this document is loaded with it.
Hot take, bro. Hot take.
Now, let me explain how that works. This is currently a civil case. She is asking that I keep away from her home and her school, but not her job because, well, you know, internet grifting isn't exactly a profession.
Got him!
The perjury will transform this from a civil case being levied at me into a criminal case, right back at her. It's illegal to lie to a judge. The entire petition is available on the link above, courtesy of Joey TCAP, but I just wanted to share my top 3 moments in petty petition perjury.
From town to town and coast to coast, fans have a receipt with Moast.
Number 1. Muse is now claiming she was not allowed to leave my house without me, as if she was kidnapped and kept under lock and key. Of course, this is not what she told the 911 operator, me via text when she was taking her lifts, the free state-provided taxi service that shuttled her to and from therapy, and of course, her livestream audience when she was clearly on the train alone to Seattle.
We need help on the GoFundMe because we are still planning on leaving at the end of this month and don't really have a plan of where we're going.
Did she forget these messages where she was whining about me not driving her to Seattle in the first place? Or this one where she's upset because I won't let a friend come over? Number 2. Muse is now claiming that she did not call the National Trafficking Hotline for herself, but of concern for my 13-year-old son. According to her, my son was confused. I yelled at him often, and I said he was a bad kid. Of course, none of those things are true, but in that case, she would have called Child Protection Services about her concern, and not the National Trafficking Hotline. I've listened to that 911 call over and over again, and not once did I hear her mention my son. But I did hear her mention that she herself was trafficked.
The lie detector test determined that was a lie.
Number 3. Muse now claims I am collaborating with her ex, a person I have never met or spoken to. She has an order of protection against this ex, so by accusing me of conspiring with him, she's saying I'm going to somehow harm her. I just want to reiterate, I have never met or spoken to this person in my life. Where and how she believes we met or have started working together is beyond me. In these papers, she definitively states I'm working with him, but on her own live stream, she admits she doesn't know if it's a fact or not.
Our story has never changed.
She continues to ramble on about how things went sour with her ex, and Brittany Simon was having people taking pictures of them, and something about a motorcycle getting stolen. Is this a choose your own adventure? Because she clearly chose the wrong option and should go back and try again. And let's just be perfectly clear. Should she try and claim DID or any other medical or mental ailment or disorder caused her to create and fabricate these stories, my lawyer can and will require proof of a prior medical diagnosis as well as an evaluation by a court-provided specialist. It will be definitive and answer a lot of questions.
Diagnoses can't be shown. Once again, I've said before, I don't have all of my documentation this big on record.
There will be no more guessing, no word salad, no bragging tweets that list a series of ailments like their Girl Scout badges, and no diagnoses that are there and gone with the snap of a finger. Now, if it is DID, and that's what's causing these lies, then she needs to be institutionalized because she is a danger to herself and others. And if it isn't DID, then she needs to go to jail because she's a danger to herself and others.
Hot take, bro. Hot take.
Lawyers aren't cheap, and while it's worth every penny to defend myself against these lies, it's comforting to know I too will be seeking restitution of court costs from the reporting party. At the rate her Patreon is going, it should only take about 10 to 20 years, so keep those pity donations rolling in.
Please, don't forget the Cash App.
She has never before faced punishment for lying to the court, lying to the police, lying to the general public, and she is continuing to dig a deeper and deeper hole. My only hope is that she doesn't drop the charges, that she shows up for that phone hearing on Thursday, May 21st, and continues to lie. There are real victims of domestic violence out there, and the court is packed as cases spike because of people being home together. And once again, we have Muse wasting time, resources, and money because she can't stay out of her own way.
That's the weird thing about dissociative disorders. Half the time I don't know what the fuck's going on, which is why it's really bad when people with me.
Yes, I agree with that. I believe it's been proven through the astounding number of people who have contacted me to share their stories that having anything to do with her at all is a really bad thing.
Especially if it's happening to a vulnerable adult.
And even though she once boasted to me,
You f***ed with the wrong person.
I think she's realizing now that while she may have gotten away with this garbage in the past,
I'm not going to block you. I'm going to address everything that you have to say directly. Look, you're going to be banned.
I'm no ordinary Joe.
No, I've literally showed you the restraining order, Joey. You're just stupid. You're just dumb.
Well, don't do that to Joey T-Cap. He took the petition for your order of protection that I was served with, and the reading on his channel captures the complaint beautifully. Link at the end of the video. Hurry up and watch it before she claims it did something to her. Real quick, before we go, I wonder if she would be so kind as to give us all her definition of trafficking and how it pertains in this case.
When there is any type of involvement in the adult industry in which there is a process of saying that you're going to give somebody a job, for instance, and this could apply to non-adult work as well. If you imply that somebody could help you with a website, we're building up here. Do you feel me? We're building up. Then help you find other models. Very dangerous. Very dangerous. Whole fact of we were there for 2 weeks and this issue has lasted about 3 months now is insane.
Got it. That's what I thought. That's it for me.
Your boy, Moast.
I have a video dropping on Thursday, May 21st, and it should be pretty big. I'll also be doing a live stream that same day with YouTuber Clobbering Time after the court case to discuss the day's events.
On the Hong Kong mob. They made him mad. Now he's getting even his way. Forced vengeance.
Wow! The land of make-believe!
Want more Moast? Subscribe or click the video above